Now we're live. Okay, so everyone, welcome to episode 2 of Insert Name Here. I like that that's the title now. So, so this week we only got one topic, and it is the Scarlett Johansson lawsuit against Disney for breach of contract and money. To be honest here, it's greed versus greed. But at least she has some merit behind it. Like, it's not just, oh, I want more money. There actually is merit. She wants, they did breach contract.
It's like, look, you need to hold up your end of the contract. And as we talked about before, Scarlett Johansson is one of their A-listers. I mean, they're literally creating an entire movie series around her character. And if this is how they're treating their A-list front and center actors and actresses, what kind of stuff are they pulling with the B, C, D, E listers who, hey, this is your first movie gig. Disney goes, here, sign this contract, haha, and fully intending to go and exploit loopholes in it and not actually honor the spirit of, if not the letter of the contract, to screw you over and keep as much of themselves. It's just like, really? Come on.
So yeah, it's pretty much the gist of it is that pretty much she's suing them for breaching contract. The contract in question was allegedly that Disney. It states that Disney Marvel's Black Widow would premiere exclusively in theaters as a normal film, and then go to Disney Plus and DVD and what have you, if they even do that anymore. Which, if that had been the case, Scarlett Johansson would have made a lot more money because her salary was actually based on the box office profits. And since obviously it didn't do that, the movie went straight to Disney Plus as well as theaters, on the same day. That means that she's not getting any of the money that when it goes to Disney Plus, she's not getting any of the profit. Only Disney is. She's only getting the money from the box office. So, and according to the report that I have on the screen here, she tried to renegotiate her contract several times, I believe. I'm trying to find where it's listed at. Here it is. Yeah, the actress claims that she attempted to renegotiate her contract with Disney and Marvel to take streaming profits into account, but it was given the cold shoulder. So she only makes money if the movie does well in box office, and she only gets money from the box office revenue from the movie, not the streaming side. So she's suing them because they breached the contract and they refused to kind of work with her. So it's an understandable thing, but at the same time, it's kind of just it's greed versus greed. But some interesting information has come from the lawsuit. Apparently, Disney did not treat her very well, to no one's surprise. I mean, remember when John Boyega left Disney and he started talking about? I guess now he left Disney, he can talk about all the horrible things they made him do. Like he had to dress a certain way when he worked for them, and like they control your entire life. You're essentially a puppet of theirs. It's crazy. But yeah, it's nothing really super spectacular about this case. The only thing worth noting is that it just, at least something I thought was worth noting, is it's funny how all these companies will like to preach in all their products and their TV shows and their movies and what have you. They'll like pause whatever you're watching to inject a scene that talks about like equal pay and all this stuff and equal wages between men and women, which is kind of stupid. Not that that's stupid, but stupid because ever since 1963, it's against the law to not pay equally. So it's like you're preaching about something that, like, prior to 1963 was that may have been a problem then, but it's not really a problem now. And if it is a problem, then you're the one doing something illegal. It's not just you should do the morally right thing here. No, you should be doing both the morally right thing and the legal thing. But
not to mention too, it would be relatively easy to do pay stubs, online banking, all that kind of stuff, to go and be able to prove that like pay discrepancies are going on. So it's like, if a company does decide to do that kind of thing, as for instance we're hearing with Activision Blizzard,
right,
it's like at that point, on that alone, irregardless of anything else the company does, on those merits alone, the company's pretty much not necessarily going under, but they're screwed to the wall right there.
They're getting a
It's
major
like,
hit to their
you can't. You've got
reputation.
nearly a fucking gimme case at that point.
Sorry. But yeah, that's pretty much like I just find it funny, especially well, not funny, but annoying and silly, because yeah, they're always preaching about like that. I think in Superman, Supergirl. My father was telling me about it because he watched some of the scenes that they had Superman in on the show later, during one of the crossovers where they had Brandon Ruth come back, and in the show, Lois Lane's talking about like equal wage, like literally like it's like pausing the show for Lois to then talk to the audience about equal wage pay. And I'm just sitting here, and like when he's telling me about it, I'm thinking like, isn't that like that? As of the Equal Pay Act of 1963, like you have to do that. It's not like corporations, they're not doing this and they should type thing. Like no, you have to do this or you're not abiding the law, and that's why the discrimination lawsuit that's going on with Activision Blizzard right now is mainly because of that, along with a shit ton of other things. I think there's like what 12 different lawsuit actions in that suit.
Damn.
Discrimination charges mostly. But yeah, that's the rich part about all this. Is they talk about equal pay, but then they're the ones that are actually underpaying their actresses, and you can make the argument, well, if they're if female actresses and just female employees in general get paid less, why not hire more of them, right?
That's true.
But they don't. So it's like either way, your argument is completely flawed. If you're
at least for a wide scale implementation of that.
Right, so it's like, yeah, you're going, women get paid less. Like, if they are getting paid less, then that's illegal, and whoever the company should be held accountable. Also, if the company themselves is saying, women get paid less, why aren't you hiring more women then? Because then you'd think, at least logically, that would, in terms of profit versus paying your employees, that would make more sense. But even still, like that, yeah, you should be held accountable for that. So I just want to say to like these corporations to clean up their own house before they start telling others how to. And
that being said, too, for anyone who may be listening to this,
doesn't matter to who
might think that their company is underpaying them, check with your coworkers,
see
what they're getting paid, and if there is something like that, there you go. Start talking to your local lawyers and judges and shit, and get the ball moving.
Communication is key. But another thing I remember, we were just talking about it before we went live, but that was like, if you were to make a streaming service, just because this article got me thinking, or the story in general, say you made a animated series back in the 90s, and then it goes on Disney Plus, like, the X-Men, Spider-Man series is, like, are those guys getting paid? Like, those, like, and how does that work? Does it work similar to how Cablevision used to work? Does it work similarly to, Netflix? Does it work, like, we don't really. And it also just brings me back to a point of like the streaming services as a whole, where I'm not a huge fan of them. Like, yeah, they're convenient, but in practice, they're not. Like, think about it this way: say you have just 5 streaming services. That means 5 separate accounts, 5 separate payments on whatever cards or however you're paying it. You're still 5 separate payments, and 5 separate accounts means 5 different passwords, unless you're using the same password, which I don't recommend you do. But it's like you're then already that's a lot, and then you have the fact that they're cycling through different things, and this streaming service does that. It's like versus old school, going back 20 years ago where you had cable, and now cable was a more expensive service, but it was a service that provided you with tons of channels, all one account, one payment, that's it. And they had different packages, but it was it was just one thing. You didn't have to have separate 5 separate accounts. Or nowadays, everyone, you have Amazon, Netflix, Disney, HBO Max, Hulu. That's just 5 right there. You got okay, there's like 17 other services: Paramount Plus, CBS All Access, which no one's ever gonna use any of those. But you have all these different streaming services that you have to keep track of, and just at the end of the day, it doesn't seem worth it. Not to me.
Nope.
Then again, it's okay. I'm not paying for any anyway. I'm either failing the high seas or I'm mooching off of other people. Because now they have that account thing with most of these. Like I think Amazon just introduced it. We can have like an account, or not account, a profile. This way, like there's the Jim's profile and Bob's profile. So if you go to Jim's profile, he has a different wish list and a list of movies and stuff versus
But
Bob.
do we know it's really Bob?
I don't know. I just know that I'm. That's how what I'm doing with a lot of my friends. We're kind of just like splitting it up. That's why only one of us has to pay for it, and the rest of us all have access. And I'm not the guy who's paying, so I'm good.
That's what they want you to think.
Yeah, I'm paying. I'm paying in torture and time.
And your spleen. Don't forget that.
My spleen is connected to something, right?
That's what they want you to think.
No, I mean like externally, like there's a wire plugged into it. Streaming service runs on spleens. No, so the story. So the article here, just to read, like, it was reported by New York Post. So Scarlett Johansson called out, Scarlett Johansson's agent, her agent called out Disney for its shameless and false statement over the Black Widow lawsuit. Scarlett Johansson's $50 million contract dispute with Disney over her starring role in Black Widow just got uglier, with the powerful Hollywood agent accusing the Mouse House of dirty tactics. Mouse House.
That's funny.
Yeah,
I like that.
Well, New York Post is great. Remember, they were the guys that did the Headless Man in Topless Bar back in then too. Brian Lord, who is the co-chairman of talent agency CAA, called the Mouse House on Friday for shamelessly and falsely accusing his client of being insensitive to the pandemic and for publishing her pay package and to the press in an attempt to weaponize her success as an artist and businesswoman. So, for any context, real quick there, Disney, when the lawsuit first came out, like their first response to this was that, like, oh, she's being insensitive to the pandemic and everything like that. They even said, I think they even said the prolonged pandemic. I'm quoting them there. Like, in your own word, you're saying prolonged pandemic. Like, this thing shouldn't be going anymore. We're well over a year now in terms of like how long this thing's affected the country, and that's a topic for another video. Maybe we'll do that Wednesday. But I mean, this is not like I don't think she's being insensitive regarding that, because if movie theaters are open, that what I mean, like if the theaters are open, then where's the argument for like the being insensitive to the pandemic? Like that's nothing to do with you. That's the theaters, right? The theaters are a different company as of right now.
What? No. Maybe.
Like you got AMC and I think there's a place in Jersey like Showcase or something. So you got all these different companies that are not like their job is just to operate, run the theater, and then buy the movies to then show there, and then make money that way. And as for the weaponizing her success as an artist, they go into that later, but late Thursday, Disney fired off a brutal statement after news broke that the Black Widow star filed a lawsuit claiming that her contract was breached when the media giant released the superhero flick on its Disney Plus streaming service at the same time it hit movie theaters. Sources told the Wall Street Journal that the decision to put the blockbuster on Disney Plus is likely to cost Johansson more than $50 million. That's from a third party. That's the Wall Street Journal saying that. Like, just analyzing the situation, going, okay, yeah, this is probably going to cost her $50 million. That is a lot of money. And usually these the MCU movies usually rake in about like $2 billion at the box office.
So or
and that's on the small side.
What I find hilarious too is that it's like with all of this kind of stuff, it's like when we're talking how much is Scarlett Johansson actually suing for? Like saying like, hey, I lost X amount here. Probably like 50 million at most.
Probably just suing for 50 million, yeah.
So it's like,
I think
we're talking 50 million, and we're talking about these movies making a couple billion. So it's like, it's not like Disney doesn't have more than enough to go and honor the actual contracts to pay the actors and actresses, not just Scarlett Johansson, but all of their actors and actresses, what they were essentially promised. I really don't get when companies go and try to play these kinds of games. Like, I mean, I get to at least a certain degree that we gotta pinch every penny, but it's like, is it really worth it? I don't get it.
So here, this is the Wall Street Journal. By the way, I was right. The quote is specifically, Disney spokesperson said, especially sad and distressing in its callous disregard for the horrific and prolonged global effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. You contradict yourself right there.
Well, hey, never let a good
right?
emergency go to waste, right?
And then it's like the fully complied with Miss Johansson's contract, and furthermore, it's pretty, whatever. Like, and she only received 20 million to date of this article, which was July 29th.
But still,
which is that's still, that to us that's a lot of money, but
oh yeah.
Yeah, and I honestly I'd be happy to just make freaking 2 million, but that's from one project. That's amazing.
Yeah, really.
Anyway.
When are we gonna get bought out? Like the whole thing here?
Yeah, nah, right? I'm too stubborn.
That's fair. We'll allow them to bribe us, but not give in to the demands.
Disney said the suit has no merit, and that it is especially sad and distressing as in its callous disregard for the horrific and prolonged global effects. We read that of the COVID-19 pandemic. In an uncharacteristic move, the buttoned-up company also disclosed that Johansson earned additional compensation on top of her $20 million salary from the movie. They have shamelessly and falsely accused Ms. Johansson of being insensitive to the global COVID pandemic in an attempt to make her appear to be someone they, and I know she isn't, Lord said in the statement Friday. Lord's her agent. This guy, apparently. A Hollywood talent agency. I guess he also represents a bunch of other actors who, Brad Pitt, George Clooney, Daniel Craig, according to the article. And so the agent said has been a great partner. Johansson's been a great partner to Disney on 9 movies, earning the company and shareholders billions. That's true. Lord likewise punched back at Disney for attempting to weaponize Johansson's success as an artist and businesswoman as if that were something to be ashamed of. This suit was filed as a result of Disney's decision to knowingly violate Scarlett's contract. They have very deliberately moved the revenue stream and profits to Disney Plus side of the company, leaving artistic and financial partners out of the new equation. That's it, pure and simple. And that's something to note too, is it's not just Scarlett Johansson losing money when they move it to stream to Disney Plus.
Yeah, it's everyone.
It's everyone that worked on the film. Extras, and if they're getting paid. Like the costume designers and stuff, the set people, if there were any sets. I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know how much is CGI. I just know that Disney does a lot more CGI than practical sets. But pretty much everyone that worked on the movie is getting less money if they go to Disney Plus than they do box office. And that's the thing too, is it's different. Like the way they get paid through the streaming service than box office or even DVD, because the DVD thing, it's similar to that of the box office, except it's not going through the theater, you're not just going straight through I wouldn't even say the retail, because obviously Disney makes money based on how many DVDs they sell to a retail store, and then that money goes to the people that actually made the film, at least ideally. But the streaming service, it seems more like just Disney kind of keeps it for themselves, which wouldn't surprise me, as we know in the past that Marvel Marvel, Disney specifically, is very good at not paying people when it comes to their creative stuff. Most notably, the guy that created the Winter Soldier character and did the story Captain America: The Winter Soldier back in 2008, and actually appeared in the 2014 film. The only time he gets money for creating the Winter Soldier is essentially, why am I blanking on the word? Essentially, the only revenue stream he sees from Disney is from his cameo in the film. It's not from the actual royalties of the character he created, which kind of sucks.
I mean, absolutely.
Like, no wonder, like, a lot of people, like, I wouldn't want to work for Disney Marvel. Like, I mean, then again, I haven't wanted to work for them ever, but like back when I was a kid, I probably would have. Like, oh, cool, I want to do Spider-Man, but no. Especially with the stuff I know.
What do you know?
But yeah, the Johansson's lawsuit claims that her contract with Disney's Marvel Entertainment guaranteed that Black Widow would premiere exclusively in theaters, and that her salary was based largely on how well the movie performed at the box office. The actress claims that she attempted to renegotiate her contract with Disney and Marvel to take streaming profits into account, but was given the cold shoulder. During the pandemic, media giants like Comcast's NBC Universal and AT&T's Warner Media began prioritizing streaming services over movie theater releases, putting some of their busiest new releases onto their streaming platforms, which, I mean, to no one's surprise.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. And the shift in major financial implications for actors, producers, directors, as I mentioned, stage workers, costume designers, set designers, even the makeup artists, like everyone that works on the film, essentially.
Well, and imagine too, if you're a worker on one of these films. Let's say if you're the lead costume designer, you work for this, and Disney goes, hey, by the way, we could pay you, $10,000 a month or whatever else for your work on this, or we'll give you 1% or 0.5% of what this makes in the box office, which regularly could lead to, we're talking hundreds of thousands potentially. And they're like, sure. And then Disney goes, ha, great, thanks, asshole.
Yeah. Pretty much, oh, look, you did the work, we get the money.
Yeah, and it's just like, and again, this isn't the first time.
No,
Disney's
and the article puts it very well here at their ending statement, where it's like, the shift in major financial implications for pretty much everyone that works on the film, and the like, who want to ensure that the growth in streaming services doesn't come at their expense, but the unfortunate reality is that it kind of is coming at their expense.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, this movie was, like, keep in mind, like, for anyone who's thinking, oh, well, it was stupid of her to negotiate the contract so that she makes money based on the on the box office. Like, yeah, except this was made. The contract was made before, what was it, 2019, I think. So that was well before COVID-19 nonsense, and she probably, and if you saw pretty much every movie, even the shit movies of Marvel, they all consistently do really well in the theater. So it's not really a bet. It's not like I'm betting. I'm betting on the payout here. It was a sure thing. And then they put it on the streaming service somewhat last minute. And she did try to renegotiate too. During its July 9th opening, according to the Wall Street Journal, during the July 9th opening, Black Widow grossed $80 million at the domestic box office and $78 million overseas, and generated another $60 million from $30 at-home purchases on Disney+. It was the first time Disney broke out a film streaming performance in such detail. Disney shares ticked upward on news that Monday. But the theatrical performance fell in the subsequent days after. And another thing to note too is that, and I'm sure everyone watching is if anyone's watching, is probably aware of this anyways, because look, I don't have Disney Plus. None of the guys that I know have Disney Plus. We pirate out everything. Sorry, sail the high seas. um, and that's those of us that actually watch it. Like, I haven't really watched anything that's on Disney Plus because I have no interest in it. But that the thing is, Disney Plus, I would say, probably one of the most, if not the most, pirated streaming service right now out there. And that's another concern that the New York Post article didn't bring up, but the Deadline article did, and that is that the rise in piracy with Disney's streaming services that essentially make it like, okay, yeah, so she is definitely losing money, no doubt about it, regarding for the movie release on Disney Plus. I mean, how many was it, like? It was the most, according to, was it Joe Blow, a news outlet called Joe Blow. I'm trying to find the article. Here it is. Black Widow is most pirated movie of the last 2 weeks. I mean, even with the aggressive piracy, it grossed $251.4 million worldwide. But and that number may be out of date now. Oh yeah, because this is from 11 days ago, so over a week ago. But that's still like, yeah, you're totally gonna lose money on that. Like, versus if it was only in theaters, then granted, yeah, it sucks because movie theater tickets today are what, like $15 a ticket, and so you want to see the film multiple times. That means you're, and with multiple people, you can pay anything from like $75 for a family to go see a movie, and that's not great. Probably going to go up now with inflation thanks to the government, but that's assuming that the movie theaters even stay alive that long. Yeah, it's an interesting story. I mean, like, as I said, there's nothing spectacular about it. Like, it's more so like the more interesting aspects aren't the story itself, because the story itself is just she got screwed over and she wants more money. That's that's it. Disney's in the wrong, but that doesn't really make, like, there's no innocent side here. There's no like good versus evil. There's just greed and evil.
I mean, there's Disney.
Disney's evil, and then Scarlett Johansson is greed. But the more interesting aspects are like what the case actually brings up. As we mentioned, with like how many people are actually getting screwed over with the streaming services as opposed to a theatrical release or just a DVD release, even. Like, if someone made a animated series and it gets put on a streaming service and it's not made for the streaming service, and even if it was, how do they get paid? Is it similar to Cablevision? Is it like, how does that work? I think I'm more curious in knowing it. I'm sure I can just like look it up online, but it tells me I'm not going to get accurate results. Like, even though the Washington Post mentions how tickets as of July 20th, even tickets were drying up. Like, no one's really going to see the movie in theaters. And say tickets for the theater for a movie weren't $15 a ticket, but say they were $8 a ticket or $5 a ticket. What do you think are people going to do more? Watch movie in the comfort of your own home, where you can make your own dinner and pause it whenever you want and all that, or go to a movie theater and I say more. I mean, like, yeah, it depends if you really want to have that movie going experience, but sometimes convenience wins out over what's more exciting. So I think there's definitely merit as to why the lawsuit exists, but at the same time, I don't have a horse in the race, as they say. I mean, personally, I'd like to see Disney lose just because I like to see Disney lose. They're all But yeah, that's really it on that story. Cam, you got anything else to say? I'm done.
Don't do drugs.
Drugs. I mean, we pretty much kind of said everything already. So I'm sure there'll be an update on it, and we'll talk about it more then. But it's kind of interesting that Disney's actually kind of taking this to court as opposed to just paying her, outside of court, and that's it. Solving the problem quietly.
I mean, to be fair, they still might do that, and then be like, we gave her so much, blah blah blah. Of course, she wouldn't be able to talk on the details of what actually happened, but they can go and just paint whatever picture they want and just go, we settled it out of court. We're so great. Give us
right.
money. Potentially.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it's interesting that this is a story at all. Like, it's not just, Scarlett Johansson lashes out at Disney, and then all of a sudden Disney pays her off, and then the story's just, like, no one cares anymore. Like, there's an actual story because they're taking it to court. Like, the fact that they're taking it to court is kind of interesting. Question why? But honestly, I just like seeing these mega corporations. Especially since it's not like they're mega corporations, but they deliver good products and stuff. No, they don't. I don't think I've watched
as
a Disney.
As we're seeing with a lot of the megacorps across the board, whether it's Disney clearly screwing over,
or Activision Blizzard mistreating employees,
the gaming companies, it's like, and also too, one thing I'll note too, it's not like this is anything necessarily new. It's just coming out now that this is how they've been for quite a while.
Right.
Because like I said, imagine if it was some B-list actor, or let's even say there was an actor who, like, hey, they're just coming into the business. Disney's like, hey, we'll go and give you X, Y, Z, ABC, and they're like, sweet, great. And then Disney goes, well, actually, get fucked. We screwed you over, and we're going to argue that it's because of this language in this one subsection of your contract that's 5,000 pages long, and get stuffed. And the person sitting there like, what the hell, and they don't have it to where, because like I said, Scarlett Johansson goes to the news, suddenly what she says is on page one, and across all the news agencies the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Smith goes to CNN, ABC, their local news, and goes, hey, Disney's screwing me over on this contract. No one cares.
Actually funny because I forgot about this specific article from July 29th. So, right, Thursday. Scarlett Johansson elicited a fiery response when she said she would be suing Disney for allegedly breaching her contract. Well, we already know this. The House of Mouse, like that one. The House of Mouse decided to release Black Widow on its Disney Plus streaming service at the same time as it premiered in theaters. A move she claimed cost her millions, which I think it did. But I mean, just looking at it objectively, because I don't really care. I mean, I just want Disney to lose, but in terms of the suit itself, I don't care. It's just both parties want money. It's all about money. Both parties want money.
So your General Hux from the new Star Wars films are like, I don't care if you win. I just want to see him lose.
No, because I don't. You're implying that I care at all about those. I don't even acknowledge them.
But we're making an entire podcast about it.
Nope. They responded to the suit Thursday, writing, there's no merit whatsoever to this filing. The lawsuit is especially saddening and distressing as its disregard for the horrific and prolonged global effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. I already read that. Disney has fully complied with Ms. Johansson's contract, and furthermore, the release of Black Widow on Disney Plus with Premier Access has significantly enhanced her ability to earn additional compensation on top of the $20 million she has received to date. But when you're hearing the opposite from the other side, and there's no data to back that claim, it makes you question it. Johansson's Avengers co-stars and Hollywood peers appear to be silent at the moment, seemingly not showing any support despite the woke move. However, fans unhappy upon her announcement have now sounded off in disgust on social media, saying, "I don't care how rich Scarlett Johansson already is. She was fucked over through a breach of contract and she should sue." One fan tweeted, "You can't really claim that you support professional women to demand that what they're worth and promised and then be like, accept her. She's doing fine as is."
Also, I wonder if Disney has anything in some of the other actors and actresses' contracts that says, "Hey, by the way, if
one of you goes rogue, the other one, he can't. Yeah, like if one of you goes rogue against us." No, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm not expecting that to be the case. But like, say, like, if one of you go rogue, you can't help. You can't help them. Someone says, if Disney can backstab Scarlett Johansson after working with her for 10 years, there's no telling how they're gonna screw over y'all's new favorites. Boycott Disney, a ScarJo fan page account added. Another angry fan chimed in, "Scarlett Johansson isn't being greedy here. She is a little, but she has reason to. By releasing Black Widow on Disney Plus, then not counting that revenue towards her expected salary, as is done with box office tickets, Disney tried to screw her out of what she was owed. Fuck Disney." Others seem to disagree. Not y'all feeling bad for Scarlett Johansson, the same woman who stood by Harvey Weinstein, the same YouTube I assume? YouTube woman who constantly takes roles from POC LGBT+. Can't be. One user tweeted, noting how she pulled out of a film where she would play a trans person. Oh yeah, that whole thing where it's like she can't play it because she's not trans or something like that. Which is ridiculous considering how the entire description of an actor is pretending to be someone else.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I've seen that kind of argument before where it's like, well, how can you have someone? I think there was some hubbub about who was the actress who played Wonder Woman in the recent?
Oh, Gal Gadot.
Yeah, there was some hubbub about her playing like Cleopatra in a recent movie because they're like, oh, she's not Egyptian or any of that.
She's Israeli. It's the next best thing.
Exactly. It's like you're already in the ballpark there, and plus two, the entire point. And I don't see anyone complaining into stuff like, if you're straight, can you play as a gay character and stuff like that? And it's like, that's the entire point of an actor or actress.
Like, also keep in mind, she played Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman's traditionally Greek. It's like no one's complaining there. Also, the fact that as you mentioned, if you're straight and you play a gay guy, what about the gays that have played straights? Most notably Neil Patrick Harris, who I thought did an amazing job in the How I Met Your Mother TV show. Because I remember watching that, and then I learned that he was.
It's literally just gatekeeping.
Yeah, I mean, there's no. It's just stupid. It's the whole point is if they're a good actor, they can play a myriad of roles and have no issues. Like unbelievably, like Neil Patrick Harris. He played a really good straight guy to the point where when I first learned he was gay, I'm like, really? Nah, that can't be. Because you see the character in the show, and it's this sex crazed maniac essentially. Seriously, I don't like. Not y'all feeling bad for Scarlett Johansson, the same woman who stood by Harvey Weinstein, the same woman who constantly takes role. Okay, so that's pretty much again, who cares what roles they get as long as they're good in the role, right? Like depending on what the role is too, I guess. Like if they're because then we're getting into the topic of sex, of gender bending and race swapping, but. My point being is, they're actors. Their whole job's to pretend to be someone else. Let them do their job. If they're straight and they're playing a trans person, who gives a shit? Can they play a accurate trans person or a convincing trans person I should say is what matters, not what the actor and actress actually is. Scarlett Johansson, 36, has been vocal in the past about the way her Marvel character was treated like a piece of ass in past films. July's Black Widow is her Natasha Romanoff character's standalone origin story, the actress, who is married to Saturday Night Live star Colin Jost, has revealed her contempt for this hypersexualization of her character. During a 2019 discussion during a press visit to the set of the flick, the Marriage Story star explained, I guess she was in another movie called Marriage Story. I mean, you look back at Iron Man 2, and while it was really fun and had a lot of great moments in it, the character is so sexualized, you know? Really talked about, like, she's a piece of something, like a possession or a thing or whatever. Like a piece of ass, really. And Tony Stark, played by Robert Downey Jr., even refers to her as something like that at one point. What does he say? I thought he said, I want one. But she says, I want something.
Yeah, it was I want one. Which, I mean, is still demeaning to a person, but it's not in a sexist way, I guess.
But then we get
that does fit in the Tony Stark.
I was about to say, it fits the character and it fits the context of the scene, because she's introduced as an assistant, right, or something, and then she kicks Happy Hogan's ass, and he just goes, "I want one." Like I want I want an assistant like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Also,
and again, that's exactly what Tony Stark, and you know, it shows he does have a. I mean, honestly, the entire
he's a womanizer.
Story
that was
Tony
the role
Stark's
they did. Yeah,
redemption story, essentially.
Yeah, that was pretty much all of them. Well, at least the first two movies were kind of redemption stories for the character. That's why I didn't like the second one, because they're repeating.
The whole series could be seen as that, but it's like, you know, where he was starting off, he was still this playboy, rich kid. I mean, we see in the very first one, like, there was this
the plane with the strippers, yeah.
Well, not even that. In like the very first Iron Man movie, there was like some journalist or
the news lady, yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, "Hey, can I get an interview?" And he was like, and
then it literally cuts to the next scene where they're having sex in bed. Yeah.
Yeah.
My problem also is just kind of like, now because that article, or not that article, but that statement from her kind of gets into the whole, like, we're going to be offended by everything now. Yes, you know, like, they're, you know, the whole super sensitive, we'll say the no skin type people. Snowflakes, that's the term, snowflakes. Like, I'm personally not a fan of that term, just because it, you know, yeah, it's insulting, but at the same time, like, yeah, some people can, you know, I don't know. It's case by case basis. I just don't think that we have to be to the point where, as you said, like, yeah, if it fits the character and the story you're telling, then why should it, you know? I don't know. Just there's too many variables for everything to be black and white.
Well, okay, and
nothing simple.
You always have people defining everything in terms of, you know, when it comes to these kinds of incidents, we'll call it. You always have people going like, because of this detail and this detail taken completely out of context, you know, obviously I'm in the right. And it's like, okay, but what about this? Oh, wait, because again, it's like you're filming a movie. The main character, like I mean, honestly, they toned down Tony Stark's character a lot from the comics and other renditions of him. Like, some of the shit he's done, holy crap.
I mean, a lot of these actors, like, you know, yeah, like, it's funny when you hear these actors and actresses kind of preach about all this stuff, because they're the ones that are usually doing all these sick things, like the whole Jeffrey Epstein pedophile island.
Yeah, exactly.
And stuff like that, or Harvey Weinstein's casting couch. You know, it's like, or Bill Cosby drugging women to then sleep with them. You know, it's
like, and I guarantee if they hadn't already been called out on this stuff, they'd be the very ones going, yeah, you need to go and do what they're saying and not do all this stuff, when they're the ones doing this stuff too.
So I think that pretty much wraps up the story, unless you want to talk about piracy a bit. Just it's good. Do it. No. I mean,
no, I don't think we should honestly be saying that.
No, I know. Yeah, YouTube will not like that. Okay, don't do it.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Do not don't do it.
Yeah, just don't do it. If you do,
no, it really it depends on. Look, if you like something and want to watch it and want to support it, actually pay for it. That's just my motto on everything, really. Like, if you think it's good, and take the Outer Worlds, right? Like, I like that game. I want to pay for it. I don't have the money at the moment, but I want to actually, because I played it for free on Xbox Game Pass, free trial. But eventually I do plan on getting the game so I can actually support Obsidian their work. But at the same time, like, yeah, if you want to watch something and you have the money to support them, I say do it. Like, pay for it, legally and all that, because if you want to support it and you want to, as they say, the way to vote is with your wallet. So if they do something good, give them money. If they don't do something good, then don't give them money, and that's when you can pirate it. I don't know. Regardless, though, the whole Black Widow thing, where Scarlett Johansson suing Disney, it's essentially just she got screwed over by them. They breached her contract. They're saying otherwise. She's saying that was what happened. She wants money, and that's the story so far.
Yeah, I got nothing else.
Yeah, nothing else either. Supposedly there's I know this isn't comic book or TV related, but supposedly there's a rumor going, or not a rumor, but it's uncertain because they say and they don't say, but
rumor, I barely know her.
That we're gonna be getting not just mask mandates again, but we're gonna have like forced vaccination.
Yeah,
I know. Broadway here in New York.
Fly too well.
Here in New York City, Broadway is going to force people to be vaccinated in order to... That includes anyone, like actors, stage workers, and audience. So it seems I'm not going to Broadway for a while. Yeah, but the whole Delta variant, what's hysteria going on right now, so everyone... Like, oh, we need to vaccinate. Vaccines aren't even doing anything now against it because it's hyper contagious. And the only, from what I can tell from the research I've done, the only difference between the Delta variant and the original COVID-19 is that it's just more contagious. Not any worse. It's just easier to get. Yep. I think that really wraps it up.
And Star Citizen news, which we'll dive into.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that tomorrow. I figured tomorrow we can do Star Citizen and the Halo flight, and then maybe Wednesday we'll talk about the updates on Activision.
Yep, if any.
There actually have been a few, but sure we'll get more. We'll get more. I figured tomorrow I really want to talk about the Infinite stuff tomorrow. As I've told you, I've been trying to play it. Well, I haven't played.
How much have you gotten your ass kicked?
I haven't been able to get in. Every time I load up the game, it instantly crashes.
So it's a 100% ass kicking. Gotcha.
Yes. Apparently, the issue is anyone using a GTX 900 series or 1000 series card, you won't be able to play.
Unless that's what they want you to think.
No, that is definitely the case. But that's going to wrap it up for now. So I guess we'll be back tomorrow night, 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We started a little late tonight. I apologize for that. It's mostly Cam's fault, though.
I blame Canada.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Canada too. Julius was talking, so.
Darn Maple Leafs.
But yeah, so tomorrow we'll talk about Star Citizen stuff because we finally got a new Inside Star Citizen Live and the Halo Infinite flights that will end tomorrow. So I figured tomorrow's perfect time to talk about it because it'll be like a perfect review. I should be able to play some actually tonight because Since I did get in, I'm going to try it on the Xbox One instead of the PC. And it works there. If it doesn't, then I'll really be livid. Alright, so that kind of wraps it up. Remember, don't do piracy. Stay out of drugs.
Yep, fucked it.
Yeah. And I'm not so think as you drunk I am. Alright. Take care, everyone.